Hello and welcome, dear students. This is one of the lessons of Grammar in Use series. In this lesson, we are going to explore negative simple present tense or the present simple negative form of the verb. You're requested to keep a notebook and pen handy so that we can make a note of the examples and construct some examples, sentences as we go along. Let us begin. The present simple negative. Now, the present simple negative is that to make negative sentences, we are using the be form in the present simple. That means not is added after the verb. Make a note of it. The word not is added after the verb. For other verbs, the auxiliary verb do not or does not is used. Whenever we have an auxiliary means the 11 words am, is, are, was, were, has, had, have, do, did, does. Whenever we have an auxiliary, we use do not or does not. But whenever we need to construct a negative, we use not after the verb. Now let us see one of the examples that is before us. Negatives with the verb be form. The verb be takes the same form in positive and negative sentences. Now in English, we generally tend to use the word affirmative and negative, but we can also say positive and negative sentences. By positive sentences we mean the affirmative sentence, and negative sentences means when the word not is present in the sentence. The only difference is adding not in the structure. For example, I am a farmer, and as per our example or definition, if we want to make a negative, we add the word not after the verb. So I am, for here am, the auxiliary is the verb over here. So we are adding not after the verb. I am not a doctor. So this is a negative sentence. The first one was a positive or an affirmative sentence. Now let us see the structure, how it is formed. Now looking at the be form, I will take am along with it. She will take is along with it. Even the word he will take is along with it. It will also take is along with it. We will take are along with it. You will take are along with it. The rules to the pronoun and the auxiliary remain the same. Now, the additional word that we have for the negative sentence is the addition of the word not after the auxiliary or the verb, and the remaining sentence remain the same, whatever we need to construct. Now let us read the sentence. I am not a doctor. She is not a doctor. We are not, I cannot say we are not a doctor because we means plural, means many. So we are not doctors, many. At this point, requesting you to construct at least 3 sentences with I am, she is, we are, using not, and the remaining part of the sentence can change. Let us proceed to the next part of the lesson. Negative contractions. Negative contractions means, first of all, contraction means where the word are not is contracted to aren't. He is one contraction, and is not is another contraction. So let us see, after understanding what are contractions, how negative contractions are constructed. Is not and are not can be contracted in 2 ways. The subject and the verb can be contracted example as his, subject and verb is contracted, or the verb and not can be contracted. For example, are not changes to aren't. So there are two ways of contractions. Either you contract the first part or you contract with the second part. Either one is to be used. They mean the same thing. Now let us see the construction. You are not a doctor. You are becomes your. Your. It still has the same meaning. You are not a doctor. Or another way is you keep the you and are as it is, and not not o is taken away, so it then apostrophe adds, so it is apostrophized. This form word becomes aren't, are not becomes aren't, you aren't a doctor. So this is the way we construct. You may stop at this point and construct one sentence with the first two contracted and another sentence with the second verb, that is verb and not contracted. Let us look at further examples. I am not a teacher. I am is incorrect. You cannot contract am not with together. I am is all right, but I am not together. These three together as a contraction is incorrect. He is not a farmer. He isn't a farmer. They aren't not American. They aren't American. At this point, you may construct example sentences. Let us proceed. Next, we have negatives with other verbs in present simple. Negatives with other verbs. That means other than the word, the auxiliary, we have the strong verb or the main verb in the sentence. For verbs other than be, do not or does not goes before the verb to make the negative. That means if we bring in the main verb, I work outside, over here work is the main verb. W-O-R-K, work is the main verb, V-E-R-B. Now if we have a main verb in the sentence, the be, do not or does not goes before the verb. That means it has to come before the main verb. I do not work outside. He works inside. He does not work inside. Verb is always in the base form with he and does not work. It remains in the base form in the negative. But when it is constructed with he works, s is added. Now there's one more pointer over here. When you are changing, remember that the subject and the verb, in between that you add do not, or you may use a contraction don't. You may use the subject he, work. Over here only when does not comes, the s drops away. He does not work inside. You may contract it, he doesn't work inside. At this point, requesting you to construct one such example to have a better understanding of the construction. Let us proceed. Now, how to form this kind of structure? I, you, we, and they. Now, by now, you must have understood the first form, the second, the first person pronoun, second person pronoun, first person plural pronoun, and the third person plural pronoun. These four will take do not. I do not, you do not, we do not, they do not. Whereas he, she, and it will take does not. The base form of the verb is used. So in the negatives, remember that the base form is used no matter what the subject is. And then we have the rest part of the sentence. Now let us construct the sentences. I do not work outside. You do not work outside. We do not work outside. They do not work outside. She does not work outside. He does not work outside. She does not work outside. It does not work outside. It can be used for an animal, most probably an oxen, dog, etc. Let us proceed. Let us see further examples. You do not have a computer. He does not live in Los Angeles. We don't start work at 8 a.m. He doesn't have a car. This is the contracted form of the does not. Does not. How do we contract it? You can look at the video on contractions, the quick checklist. DOES, O is apostrophized, that apostrophe is added, and T remains as such. So does not becomes doesn't. He doesn't have a car. At this point, you may construct sample sentences looking at the examples on screen. Let us proceed. Common mistakes forming negative sentences. The main verb in the negative sentence always stays in its base form even if the subject is he, she or it. He does not work outside is correct. He does not works outside is incorrect. So remember that the verb with he, the verb will change to its base form. And it is only in the negative sentence. When it is an affirmative sentence, the rule was different. Requesting you to construct one such correct sentence at this point. With this, we have come to the end of the video. If you like the video, kindly click on like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much for your kind attention.